I want you to picture two apartments. Same city, Denver, Colorado. Same zip code in the Capitol Hill neighborhood. Similar monthly rent. $1,800 each. Marcus is a senior account director at a marketing agency downtown. He clears $8,200 a month after tax. Walk into his apartment and you feel the money immediately. A 85-inch OLED television mounted above a custom media unit. A sectional sofa in Italian leather that cost $6,000 and took 11 weeks to ship. A kitchen full of gadgets. A commercial espresso machine, a sous vide cooker, a stand mixer still in the box, a smoothie blender used 4 times since March, a walk-in closet so full that a second rolling rack stands in the hallway, a mountain bike hanging from the ceiling of the second bedroom, a set of golf clubs standing in the corner next to a surfboard he bought after a trip to San Diego 2 summers ago. Marcus checks his Chase account on the last Friday of every month with the same hollow feeling. There is never as much there as there should be. He is 90 days from serious financial trouble and he cannot explain why. Daniel is a middle school science teacher at a public school in the Stapleton neighborhood. He clears $4,400 a month after tax. Walk into his apartment and you notice something immediately. Not what is there, but what is missing. A clean open sitting room, a modest 50-inch television, a kitchen with a good chef's knife, a cast iron pan, a cutting board, and a coffee press. A single wardrobe with clothes he actually wears. The second bedroom has a desk, a lamp, and a bookshelf with books that are actually read. Nothing else. Daniel opens his Fidelity app every Sunday morning with the same quiet confidence. He has 14 months of living expenses in a high-yield savings account. He automatically transfers 22% of every paycheck into index funds on the first of every month before he spends a single dollar on anything else. Same zip code, same Denver neighborhood. The man earning almost half as much has 15 times the financial security. This is not a story about salary. This is a story about the invisible second price tag attached to everything you own. A price tag that is silently bleeding the finances of millions of Americans who earn well, spend freely, and wonder every month where it all went.
Marcus is not irresponsible in any obvious way. He pays his rent on time. He does not gamble. He does not have a substance problem. He simply accumulated a life that costs every dollar he earns just to maintain, and he did it so gradually that he never saw it happen. Daniel discovered something that permanently changed his relationship with money. He learned that owning less does not mean living smaller. It means living on purpose. And living on purpose creates financial breathing room that most high earners will never experience once in their lives. My name is Professor Cole. This is Smart Investment with Professor Cole. Today, I am going to show you the 10 minimalist money rules that separate people who always have money from people who never do, regardless of what they earn. These are not rules about deprivation. They are about understanding that every object in your home is costing you money right now in ways you have almost certainly never calculated. Once you see these numbers, you cannot unsee them.
If you have ever earned a decent salary, looked at your bank account at the end of the month, and genuinely could not explain where it went, subscribe to Smart Investment with Professor Cole. What I am about to show you changes how you see every purchase you have ever made and every purchase you are about to make. Here is the single concept that will permanently change how you think about buying anything for the rest of your life. Every object you own costs you money twice. The first cost is the one you see. It is the sticker price, the number on the receipt, the total that clears your account. You know this number. You accepted this number. That number felt like the end of the transaction. It was not the end of the transaction. It was the beginning. The second cost is the one that nobody calculates. Not the store, not the manufacturer, not the credit card company. Nobody has any interest in showing you this number. So most people go their entire financial lives without ever seeing it. And this second cost has 4 separate parts.
Part 1 is storage. Every object you own occupies physical space. Physical space in any American city costs money. It is baked into your rent or your mortgage, whether you notice it or not. In Denver, residential space costs approximately $38 to $52 per square foot per year.
Marcus's surfboard from the San Diego trip takes up 14 square feet of floor space in his second bedroom, including clearance. At $45 per square foot, that is $630 a year, just to store a surfboard he has used twice. He paid $380 for the surfboard. It has already cost him more than that in storage alone, and it is not close to finished costing him. Part 2 is maintenance. Marcus bought a second-hand Land Rover Defender last year because he wanted something that could handle mountain roads in winter. He paid $42,000 for it. The annual maintenance cost on a Defender, servicing, parts, tires, insurance premium above a standard sedan, and the specialist labor rates, runs at approximately 12% of the vehicle's value in year one. That is $5,040 per year just to own it. Not to drive it, to own it.
Part 3 is mental energy. Every object Marcus owns occupies a portion of his attention. It needs to be cleaned, organized, insured, maintained, worried about when something sounds wrong, and eventually replaced. A Princeton University Neuroscience Institute study found that visual clutter measurably raises cortisol, the body's primary stress hormone, and reduces the brain's ability to focus and make clear decisions. Marcus's apartment is not just expensive, it is physiologically stressing him every single day he wakes up inside it. Part 4 is opportunity cost. This is the one that should keep you awake at night. Every dollar locked inside a depreciating possession is a dollar that is not compounding. Marcus's home recording studio setup, microphones, monitors, an audio interface, acoustic panels, a mixing desk, cost him $11,000. He records music approximately once a month. That $11,000 invested in a simple S&P 500 index fund at a historical average return of 10% annually would be worth $47,000 in 15 years. Marcus did not buy a recording studio. He bought a recording studio instead of $47,000. When you add the second cost to the first cost, the true price of most possessions is dramatically higher than what the receipt showed you. Minimalists understand this. They are not avoiding ownership because they are anti-success or anti-comfort. They are avoiding specific types of ownership because they have done the arithmetic, and the arithmetic is unambiguous. The first rule that Daniel lives by, without exception, before he buys anything above $50, he calculates the cost per use. He estimates realistically, not optimistically, not aspirationally, but realistically, how many times he will use this item in the next 12 months. He divides the price by that number. The result is the cost per use, and the cost per use is the only honest measure of whether this purchase represents value or waste. Here is why this calculation is so powerful. It strips away every emotion attached to the purchase. It strips away the fantasy version of yourself who will use this thing constantly. It strips away the marketing language. It leaves only the arithmetic. Marcus walks into REI and sees a $400 GPS hiking watch. He loves hiking. He buys it. He goes hiking 3 times that year. Cost per use, $133 per hike. That watch cost more per outing than a guided tour. Daniel sees the same watch. He estimates he will hike roughly 4 times a year. Cost per use at $400, $100 per hike. He does not buy it. He uses the Trail Maps app on his phone, which cost nothing, and his $40 Casio, which has worked for 6 years. His cost per hike for navigation? 0.
The calculation does not always say no. That is the part most people miss. A $1,800 mattress used every single night for 8 years costs 61 cents per use. It is one of the highest value purchases any person can make because it directly affects sleep quality, which affects cognitive performance, physical health, and emotional regulation every single day. The maths approves this purchase emphatically. Daniel's 12-year-old Honda Civic cost him $9,000 used. He drives it to school 5 days a week and to the grocery store on weekends. Over 52 weeks, that is roughly 310 uses per year. At $9,000 over a projected 6-year ownership period, $4.84 per use, versus Marcus's Defender at $42,000 plus $5,000 per year in running costs, approximately $72 per use for the same commute to the same city, same transport function, $67 difference per journey, every single journey. Cost per use does not make you cheap. It makes you precise. And precision is what separates the people who build wealth from the people who earn it and watch it disappear.
The second rule. Daniel calls it the replacement test, and he runs it on his entire apartment twice a year. He walks through every room. He picks up every object. He asks himself one question. If this object disappeared from my life tomorrow, would I spend money to replace it? Not could he replace it. Not should he replace it. Would he actually go and spend money to bring this specific thing back into his life? The answer for most objects, in most homes, is no. People would not replace them. These objects are in the home through inertia, not intention. They were bought in a moment of enthusiasm that has since passed. They were gifts that felt wrong to discard. They are relics of a hobby that lasted one season. They are duplicates of things already owned. They are things bought because they were on sale and the sale made them feel necessary. These objects have negative value. They cost storage. They cost mental attention. They collect dust that requires cleaning. They make finding things that matter harder. They are a financial and psychological liability disguised as possession. Marcus has 2 Instant Pots. He has never once used 2 Instant Pots simultaneously. He has 1 good dining table and 4 bar stools he bought when he thought he would host regularly.
He has hosted twice in 3 years. He has 3 gym bags, all functional, all different, all used interchangeably, and none of them ever needed to be replaced because the one he already had worked fine. He has a label maker, a laminator, and a document shredder, all purchased in a single weekend of organizational enthusiasm 4 years ago. He has used the shredder twice, the laminator never. None of these objects would be replaced if they disappeared, which means none of them should exist. They are not possessions. They are penalties. Ongoing, invisible, compounding financial penalties on the money and space and attention they occupy. Daniel's replacement test leaves only the things that pass. Everything that fails the test gets sold on Facebook Marketplace, donated to Goodwill on West Colfax, or discarded. The process is uncomfortable for approximately 40 minutes. Then it becomes one of the most liberating things a person can do to their financial situation. Because the moment you clear the objects that do not serve you, you see what your home and your finances look like when they are working for you instead of against you. There is a pattern that appears in the financial life of almost every high earner who has nothing to show for it. They upgrade things that are working perfectly, not because the thing broke, not because the thing is inadequate, because a newer version exists, and the existence of a newer version made the working version feel suddenly inferior. Marcus's television from 3 years ago, a 65-inch Samsung, worked flawlessly. Sharp picture, fast response, not a single issue. He replaced it with the 85-inch OLED because a colleague mentioned the new model at lunch, and by Thursday, the 65-inch felt embarrassing. He spent $3,200 solving a problem that did not exist.
His iPhone worked. He replaced it because the new one had a slightly better low-light camera, He spends approximately 4 hours a week taking photographs. The low-light improvement is measurable in laboratory conditions. It is not measurable in the photographs he actually takes at bars and family gatherings and hiking trails. He spent $1,100 on a camera improvement he cannot see in his own photos. His coffee machine worked. His coffee machine made coffee every morning for 2 years without a single malfunction. He replaced it with a commercial-grade espresso setup because a barista at a cafe on 16th Street Mall told him what machine they used. He spent $1,400 on an upgrade from a machine that made coffee he enjoyed to a machine that makes coffee he also enjoys. 2 years of enjoyment. $1,400 more. The American Consumer Research Institute published data showing that the average American household spends between $4,000 and $7,000 per year on upgrades to items that were functioning at the time of replacement. Over a 30-year working life, at a conservative $5,000 per year, that is $150,000 in unnecessary replacement spending. Invested instead at 8% annually, that is $611,000. More than $500,000 spent replacing things that worked. Daniel's rule is direct and without exceptions. A thing is replaced when it cannot perform its function, not when a better version exists, not when a colleague has the newer model, not when the design looks dated, not when boredom arrives. When it cannot do what it is supposed to do, that is when it is replaced. Every other moment is a marketing event disguised as a need.
Drop a comment right now. Tell me where you are watching from. We read every single one. Now stay with me, because this is where the numbers get genuinely shocking. Human behavior follows the path of least resistance. This is not a character flaw. It is biology. The brain conserves energy by defaulting to whatever requires the least effort. If spending is frictionless and saving requires deliberate action, you will spend every single time. Willpower will eventually lose to convenience. It always does. Minimalists do not rely on willpower. They engineer their environment so that the financially correct choice is the easy choice, and the financially destructive choice requires effort. Marcus has his credit card details saved on 14 different websites. He can complete a purchase on Amazon in 9 seconds without picking up his wallet. He has push notifications turned on from 5 retail apps that alert him to sales, new arrivals, and limited time offers. He has subscribed to 11 email lists from brands he likes. His entire digital environment is an optimized machine for converting his idle attention into purchase decisions. Daniel removed his card details from every website except the 2 he uses for genuine, recurring necessities. He deleted every retail app from his phone. He unsubscribed from every promotional email using unroll.me in a single afternoon. He applies a 72-hour waiting rule to every non-essential purchase above $30. If he still wants the item after 72 hours and the cost per use justifies it, he buys it. If the desire fades, which it does approximately 70% of the time, he saved that money without exerting a single ounce of willpower. He also automated saving before he could spend it. On the first of every month, his bank automatically transfers 22% of his paycheck to his Fidelity investment account and 11% to his Marcus Goldman Sachs high-yield savings account. This happens before Daniel has touched a dollar. The money never enters his checking account. It is never available to be spent. The decision is made once when he sets up the transfer, and then it executes permanently without requiring any further discipline from him. The behavioral science here is documented and clear. A 2018 National Bureau of Economic Research study found that automatic savings enrollment increases long-term savings rates by 40% compared to opt-in systems requiring the same contribution amount. The contribution is identical. The difference is which direction the friction points.
Point friction towards spending. Point ease towards saving. Your bank balance in 10 years will reflect whichever direction you chose.
Let me show you what these rules produce in real numbers over a real timeline. Marcus and Daniel, same Denver neighborhood, same age, 31. Marcus earns $8,200 a month. Daniel earns $4,400. Marcus spends $7,900 a month maintaining his current lifestyle. His net savings rate, $375 per month, 3% of his income. At that rate, investing $375 a month from age 31 to age 65 at the same 8%, Daniel retires with $340,000. That is his number after 34 years of working at nearly $100,000 a year. Daniel spends $2,600 a month. His net savings and investment rate, $1,800 per month, 41% of his income. At that rate, investing $1,800 a month from age 31 to age 65 at the same 8%, Daniel retires with $3,200,000.
$3,200,000 versus $340,000. The man who earned 47% less across his entire working life retires with 9.4 times more money. This is not a mathematical trick. This is compound interest applied to behavior. Marcus earned the money. He just did not keep it. The things he owned consumed it. The upgrades absorbed it. The second price tags extracted it. Every month for 34 years. Daniel earned less. He kept more of what he earned. And time turned kept money into extraordinary wealth. The difference between their monthly savings, $1,425 per month, is not extravagance. It is the aggregated second price tag of everything Marcus owns. The storage costs, the maintenance costs, the upgrade cycle, the impulse purchases, the objects that do not pass the replacement test. $1,425 a month, every month, bleeding quietly, building nothing.
Before the solution, drop a comment and tell me where you are watching from. Smart Investment with Professor Cole is watched in every continent on Earth. We want to hear from every country. Now, here is how you fix it. Here is what you can actually do. 6 rules. Start this weekend. Rule 1. Calculate cost per use before every purchase above $50. Write the number down. If the cost per use is above $20 for a non-essential item, do not buy it. The discipline is in the arithmetic, not the willpower. Rule 2. Run the replacement test on your entire home this weekend. Walk every room. Pick up every object. If you would not spend money to replace it, it does not belong in your space. Sell what has value on Facebook Marketplace. Donate what someone else can use. Remove the rest. This single afternoon will free more financial oxygen than most people find in a year of budgeting. Rule 3. Never replace a functioning item. Write this on a card and put it where you make spending decisions. Your phone works, your car works, your television works. A newer version existing is not a reason to replace a functioning item. It is a reason to feel nothing, because you understand now what that upgrade actually costs.
Rule 4. Build the 72-hour rule into every non-essential purchase. Remove your card details from retail websites tonight. Delete the shopping apps. Unsubscribe from the promotional emails. Make spending require effort. Make saving require nothing. Rule 5. Automate your savings before your spending. Open a separate investment account this week. Set an automatic transfer for the 1st of next month. Start at 15% of your paycheck. Increase by 2% every 6 months until you reach 30%. You will not miss what you never see. Rule 6. Define what enough looks like before you earn more. Write down the answer to these questions. What apartment is sufficient for my genuine needs? What car reliably gets me where I am going? What wardrobe contains everything I actually wear? Write those definitions down. Refer to them every time income increases and the temptation to upgrade arrives. Because without a definition of enough, every raise becomes a higher baseline, and you never once gain ground. Daniel applied all 6 of these rules at age 27. He started with $38,000 in savings, $300 in monthly investment contributions, and a 2-bedroom apartment he stopped filling with things he did not need.
At 31, he has 14 months of emergency savings, $1,800 moving to his investment account every month, and an apartment that costs him almost nothing in the second price tags that are bleeding Marcus dry across the hall. By 65, at current trajectory, Daniel retires with $3,200,000 on a teacher's salary. Marcus, on current trajectory, retires with $340,000 on a salary nearly double Daniel's. The rules are not complicated. The discipline to apply them is not extraordinary. The results are. Here is what nobody tells you about the relationship between owning less and building wealth. It works in both directions. Owning less creates more money. But as money accumulates, owning less starts to feel completely natural. When your savings account is strong, when your investment portfolio is growing every month, when you know you could absorb a financial shock without flinching, the psychological pull toward accumulation weakens. The objects stop looking like security, because your bank account is already providing the security that the objects were never actually able to provide.
The people trapped in Marcus's cycle usually cannot explain why they keep buying things. The honest answer is that spending briefly fills the anxiety that financial insecurity creates. Remove the insecurity with actual financial strength, and the compulsion to fill the apartment with things you do not need dissolves on its own. That is the cycle Daniel is writing. Spending less produces saving more. Saving more produces security. Security removes the emotional drive to spend. Less spending accelerates saving further. Each month the cycle completes, the next month is stronger. Marcus is writing the opposite cycle, and the opposite cycle ends in the same place for everyone who rides it long enough. You have a choice between these two cycles right now. Not next year, not after the next raise. Right now. The choice does not require more income. It requires clarity about what everything you own is actually costing you. You do not need to own less to feel less. You need to own less to be more financially secure, more mentally free, more able to make choices from strength rather than obligation. The maths is not complicated. The only question is whether you are willing to look at it.